Welcome to ROI BizTalk with Jonathan Lack.
I thought that, Paul, today we could talk about one of the most important things for any service business, but it certainly plays out in real estate. It's talking about branding in real estate and the difference between marketing and branding, because I think people get confused on what the difference is.
hmm
I can say early in my career, um, I was confused. I didn't even know what branding was. I knew what marketing was. I went to business school. I focused on marketing. I went to a quantitative business school, the Wharton School, for an MBA, and we learned a lot about quantitative aspects of marketing, but I didn't really understand branding. And it was only after being in a lot of service businesses and a lot of turnaround service businesses um, that I realized in a service business, um, if your people can't walk the talk of a brand, of your marketing campaign, then what they're doing is diluting your brand. And I remember poignantly during one of the Super Bowls back in my first job out of business school, I worked for MCI, the telecom company, and they did a big commercial that they had held in secret to the 35,000 plus employees that worked there at the time during the Super Bowl. And it was this little girl in Ireland or Britain, somewhere on the coast, uh, and I didn't understand the ad. And on that next Monday morning, I think you had about 35,000 employees who didn't understand the ad because everybody was talking about it. And in that time, because it was telecom and they could get away with that. Um, but in a business like real estate, you can't get away with that because the marketing person, your head of marketing, can bottle the team leaders, brand manifesto and image. You're an apple, we're an apple, we're an apple, or that company or that team is an orange, they're an orange. They're but if your agents and all of your professional staff who are touching the client experience are not an apple and don't know they're supposed to be an apple and start talking like they're an orange or a pineapple or a banana, then you're diluting the brand. And this is what happens so much.
hmm
And um, and what is a brand to begin with?
hmm
And a brand is an emotional promise that a company is making to its clientele.
Yeah. Do you,
Uh,
do you in the case of real estate in particular, do you find that generally starts with your lead agent and around their style and their personality, or is there something more created around an idea versus a person?
no, it starts around their personality,
Yeah.
unequivocally 99% of the time.
Right.
And because it's very personality driven business. And and what I've tried to do is help them say, okay, what are the attributes of you on your best day? Not on
hmm
your worst day, but on your best day. That's what we want to bottle. That's what we want to template. That's what you want everybody to emulate, not being robots, but within you know uh, uh, guardrails of that description. And once you have that, the marketing person, the head of marketing, has an easier time because they're just cutting and pasting most of the time that image, those fonts, those colors, um, because they're changing it in and out with new properties. But the people you hire on the team, um, and the and the messaging that you do has to match the people who are representing the firm because they're representing the brand. They're not doing marketing. They're giving you a business card. They're giving you a brochure. And they're giving you a listing presentation. Those were created by the head of marketing, and those are considered quote unquote marketing materials. But the experience that the client has with the agent or someone else on the team impacts their perception of the brand.
Mhm.
And did you deliver on your brand promise or not?
Right.
And that's the difference, and it's a big difference because what happens is, uh, the brand becomes part of not just the marketing, but the culture of the business. And so you have to be careful if you're saying you're a Four Seasons type of real estate team, then you better hire people on your team who are high touch, full service people. Um, and if they're not high touch, full service people, then you don't have a match with the people you're hiring and the brand promise that you're making to the public. And if you have a disconnect, you're then your dollars, your marketing dollars are going down the
Mhm.
drain.
Alright, can you, can you tell us what you mean by Four Seasons?
Four Seasons is a top tier luxury hotel, and they have fantastic service at every level of from the house cleaning to the concierge to the maitre d to the people at the bar to the waiters and waitresses, and you pay a lot, and you're paying a lot because you expect top notch A plus plus service. Okay, if you go to a Motel 6 and you're paying 10% or 5% of what you're going to pay at you pay $60 a night. When I was traveling, taking my son to basketball tournaments around the state of Texas when I was living there, we would stay at Motel 6s.
Mhm.
We
'Kay.
wouldn't be staying. I'm not going to take a 16-year-old to stay at a Four Seasons for a basketball tournament. No matter what anybody is offering, are you delivering on what your promise is?
Right. So, just to take the metaphor out, you're you're a Four Seasons agency, high quality, you're staging, you're doing everything top tier. That 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 as being part of your marketing brand is going to inform the kinda hires you make. That
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It should. And if it doesn't, and if you don't hire people that are willing to go the extra mile, people who want to be pushed to be better, they are not culturally the right fit
yeah.
for your team.
Mhm.
Not a value judgment, but it is a business judgment. You know, if you're in sports and you want to win the national championship, you have to get people who want to be the first there and the last to
Yep.
leave,
Right.
not people who are showing up late to practice and dogging it during games. It's not any different than in business.
Yeah. So, as fractional COO, you come in, and I would imagine if there isn't a clear brand positioning, you're helping to create it, and that might even mean making suggestions around the team and who fits and who does
Absolutely.
not.
Um, it's when I come in to teams and do an audit. The first thing I do is interview everybody on the team in
Hmm.
confidence, and then
Hmm.
I learned the culture of the
Hmm.
team very quickly, and I'm asking people on the team whether they're an agent, a staff, management, what do they like about the team? Why, other than a paycheck, why are they there? What do they think could be improved, and what do they think needs to be killed? And um, I learned the culture of the team, and then I look at the market that they're in to see if the culture matches the culture of the market, and I find gaps. And when we find the gaps, then the next phase is to say, well, how do we close the gap? And I also do a brand audit then to see if the marketing message matches the cultural message. And one of the exercises that I encourage team leaders to do is to say, who have had hundreds of clients, is I ask them, write down all the words that describe your 10 best clients.
Hmm.
Can't tell me what they look like. You can't tell me what the price point was. I'm talking about the relationship of working with them. The
Mhm.
10 best ones describe those words.
Mhm.
And then do the same thing for the 10 worst clients that you've had.
Mhm.
Not what they look like, not the price point,
Mhm.
but the experience that you had, and then give me those words. And then I look at both sets when I'm looking at their marketing, and what I inevitably find is they're not using the words for their 10 best clients in their marketing materials, and they're often using words that are attracting the clients that they don't want in the materials. And so if you don't want sharks, don't put out shark bait. And it's a pretty it's simple, but it's fundamental. There's an aha because they see it. They have to see it. If they don't see it, then it's not believable. And many times I make a recommendation for a refined tagline because I'm thinking of taglines not only for the public, but I'm thinking of it for the internal team, that the internal team can use that tagline as a aspiration to of the level that they need to be at.
Mhm.
High touch, full service,
Right.
elevating luxury, elevating living. These are types of taglines that have created where it was also for internal purposes to market to the team internally of here's our North Star.
Right.
It's not a market, it's not a jingle just for the public. It's a standard that we need to maintain. Otherwise, the jingle in the public will be just a jingle. It won't become reality.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all part of the brand positioning. It's you're reinforcing the brand internally to that people are kind of monitoring on it
That's
at all
exactly
times.
right. That's
And
right.
what's your take on the plethora of media assets and use of social media, and how is that playing a role in the real estate industry, maybe compared to 15 years ago? Is it playing a role in the real estate industry? Does it
Sure.
drive
It
sales?
it it can drive more awareness than direct sales. Um, and I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make in social media, the more mediums we have expose, email, newsletters, digital
Mhm.
newsletters, social media on different platforms, traditional postcards, traditional advertising, the more opportunities there are to dilute your brand
Mm.
because everybody who's touching those is putting their own spin on it.
Mhm.
And if you don't have tight brand standards,
Mhm.
uh, you have, one brand and 30 mediums, you have 30 times one,
Yeah.
you got 30 brands
Yeah.
and 30 different mediums.
Yeah.
So this is the vulnerability to social
Mhm.
media is that
Mhm.
you have young people who know the technical part of social media, how to post, how to do a story, how to do a reel. Okay. They know absolutely nothing about branding and the psychology of branding,
Mhm.
and they don't know how that fits in to the rest of the brand. And the point is that they may get lucky and get a client from it, but you have to have sustainable luck if you're going to run a business. And what people will realize is that all of your marketing touch points at any given time are going to be the lead touch point.
Mhm.
Social media is not always for all people the first touch point that they see with a particular brand.
Mhm.
Um, and so if they don't like your postcard or they don't like your website or they don't like your for sale sign or they don't like the ad that they saw or they don't like you, the way you're dressed at the grocery store, many of those people are never going to go to social media because they'd have no reason to go to your social media.
Mhm.
Okay. And so for some people, social media platform, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, et cetera, can be the first touch point. And for other people, it's the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, or 10th touch
Mhm.
point. And so the point is that uh, it isn't going to be their only touch point if you're going to keep them as a client. because you have to have a personal touch point with them. And if your personal touch point doesn't match what you're putting out on social media, there's a disconnect right there. Um, so this goes back to having your brand defined
Right.
and using the mediums, uh, TV, radio, print, social media, um, digital marketing aligned.
Mhm.
And to me, that's more important than what the latest social
Right.
media platform is. There's always going to be somebody killing it on that platform, and the vast majority of people are going to try to figure out how did they do that.
Yeah.
Um, and and they got lucky. That's how
Yeah.
they did it. Or they went after a certain demographic or psychographic that liked their
Right.
angle. Um, but the question is that big enough and effective enough to run a successful business off of by itself? And I would argue, yes, you have influencers and individuals who have beat the odds, but the vast majority of people, if somebody's in real estate, their expertise is not social media. Their expertise is real estate. So social media is going to be a complementary medium for them, not their primary strength. Otherwise, they'd be an influencer if and do a better job of selling their influence than selling real estate.
Mhm. Uh, I know you've worked with some realtors who don't know or care anything about this, and I know you've worked with some realtors who are already, um, considered somewhat media personalities in their market. And I'm curious, when you come across that, I know that you've helped develop some other revenue streams around um around your clients' brands. Did you want to kind of speak to any of that?
Well, the what's happening now with the is it AEO is the term people are using?
Answer engine optimization, yes, would be the new SEO, the new search engine optimization, so that we're finding and being found in AI result queries, along with
Right,
search engine.
and that requires more content
Hmm.
than most traditional service businesses, um, or even product businesses
Right.
would be creating,
Right.
right? Because, if I sell plumbing services, how much content do I wanna put about a plumber? Or, I can put beautiful houses on site but that's pictures, that's still not enough
Hmm.
content
Right.
to be effective. And, the trend now is for, uh, real estate teams to create blogs or websites that that are content rich, not tied directly to properties for sale or sold, but indirectly tied to the client experience, whether the client experience is based on the front end. They want to learn about the community that you're selling a home in because they had to decide whether they want to live in Mayberry RFD. And so, what kind of content can you provide to get them excited
Hmm.
about that community?
Hmm.
And then also, post purchase, now that if they're a first time home owner, uh, what are all the services uh, and product companies that can elevate their experience in that home or on that lot? Meaning, it could be landscaping companies, interior design companies, you know, kitchen upgrades, bathroom upgrades, window companies, all
Hmm.
the companies that sell products and services tied to your home.
It seems like that would include not just, vendors that are associated directly with their house, but the neighborhood you're moving into and just general
That's right.
lifestyle questions.
Restaurants, uh,
Mhm,
schools,
mhm,
houses of worship, playgrounds, uh, hiking, exercise venues,
mhm.
everything that impacts the quality of life of people who are going to move into that neighborhood. Um, you know, the the chambers of commerce today are not the same as they used to be. There a lot of them have become lobbying organizations
Mhm.
for companies, not the "Hey, welcome to our town,"
Right.
type. And so I think it's the opportunity now is for businesses and particularly real estate teams to provide that
Mm,
type of content,
mm,
through the agent's eyes and their experience, because they're supposed to be an expert in that particular area,
mm,
and sharing their experiences with the general public so that someone in the general public says, "I like what I'm seeing, and I like that agent," through that content experience that they provided, whether it was a video or whether it was a reel or a story, that they can relate to,
mhm.
you know, and that's gonna become more and more of a trend.
Yeah.
And that and then that's what these AEOs are looking for,
Right.
so that when someone types in them instead of a search engine, all of that content that we just spoke about, helps elevate them, sooner in the posting of whatever question somebody asked,
Right. And
you know?
this is all part of your this is all part of your auditing process when you come in. You're
That's
gonna
right.
take you take a look at what your clients are already doing, and it's eh, equal to, analyzing whether a team member is on brand or not. You're also looking at these marketing,
Opportunities. Yeah,
social media opportunities.
there's 2 parts to this brand concept. One is, are you on brand?
Mhm,
Okay, you're an Apple now, everything says you're an Apple. Then it's, scaling it so that more people know that you're an Apple.
mm,
So first, instead of coming in and telling people to scale it more, well, why scale it if it's confusing what you are? You're
mhm,
just wasting money faster.
mhm,
And I say, well, let's figure out what you are. Let's clean it up so that if somebody does look at it, they know you're an Apple if you say you're an Apple. And now, once you cleaned up, let's go scale it to people who want an apple, who appreciate that you're an apple.
mhm.
It doesn't do any good if you don't like apples to go promote it and try to convince them. That's not very effective.
Yeah, do you is it common for, an agency to have, already on staff marketing professionals who understand this? I imagine that that's part of the challenge too, either needing to outsource potentially or to get some of these internal marketers up to speed, guys. They're in the real estate world more than they are in the marketing world.
Well, people come into marketing from different journey paths.
Mm,
A lot of people get into marketing because they were a graphic designer
mhm,
and they work their way up.
mhm,
Okay. And they're very good at graphic design and
mhm,
creative,
mhm.
but they're not very strategic
Yeah.
and they're not asking the tough business questions. Okay. And then you have people who are coming more at it from the business angle who say, you know what, I, I'll determine based on the business analysis, are we an apple or an orange or banana? And then I'll just go hire a graphic designer who
Mhm,
can create a orange or apple or banana. Okay. And it just depends on how where people started out and the opportunities, that they've had to get to where they are.
mhm,
Um, but there are more people who are coming at it from a creative perspective, and they're not as effective because they don't understand that, um, it's not art. It's marketing has to have a business objective,
mhm,
and you're going to be measured at the end of the day whether that money that you're spending is getting a return
mhm,
on investment. And
mhm.
that's what I focus and stress with the clients that I work with.
If you went in somewhere and there was a quote unquote marketing team member, um, who was coming from a design background, and then you did have either yourself or maybe there's someone else on staff who is more strategic.
Yeah,
How do you work to put those to have them work together with each other? Is
yeah.
there certain methodologies there?
Well, there's a little. pat on the back and kick in the ass. It's a little balance between the two of saying,
Mhm,
this is an opportunity for you to take your game to the next level. I'm going to teach you strategy. You're great at graphic design,
mhm,
but and generally these people are younger,
mhm.
and so you have too much career left in you to stop learning. We
Yeah,
all have to keep learning. And this is what I think your focus on your next level of learning should be, understanding the strategic aspects of marketing,
mhm,
the business aspects
mhm,
of marketing.
mhm.
And then once you do, you can be as creative, knock yourself out.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Because if we know our target segment and we know our positioning to that target segment, then creativity comes in because it's like, how do you say what we want to say six different ways
Mhm,
to be creative? Okay.
mhm,
Then it's like, knock yourself out. But if you're going to show me some marketing and ask me what I think about it, and you're not telling me who it's targeted for, I'm looking at art, and art is subjective. I can't tell you whether it's going to be effective or not because you didn't create it to be effective. You created it based on your being creative, but with no guidelines. So
mhm.
therefore it's art because why should
Yeah,
art
yeah.
art have any guidelines? It's whatever you want, baby.
It
You know,
has to answer some very specific business questions,
it's for
and
it to be marketing and
yes.
not just art.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely.
Now it could be both.
Mhm,
There's nothing wrong with it being both.
mhm.
That would be genius.
Kinda what you're after ultimately if you can do it. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we're looking
yeah,
for.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
looking to hit the business objective with the most
yeah,
creative,
yeah,
and that's where these genius ad campaigns do come in every
yeah.
once in a while, and then you look at them 10, 15 years later, you go, "Man, that was genius."
Mhm.
Versus you watch some Super Bowl commercials and you can't even remember them 10 days after the Super Bowl
Yeah,
because they were just trying to get some creative award,
yeah,
not,
yeah,
uh, effective award.
yeah, yeah. Wow, I feel like we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is the first of many to come,
Yeah,
and I look forward to doing them with you,
yeah.
and thank you for moderating.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. This has been extremely informative. We got a couple of more episodes we're lining up as we speak, so we'll be sharing them as soon as they're done.